And welcome back. It is Friday night. Another exciting week for comic book geek nerds, lovers of all fantasy of the comic book genre. It's been such a great week. It's your boy Crispy. We are the Average Boys, and I am here with my boy Trigger. What is up, my dude?
What's going on, man? I had a pretty good week this week. It's my I think like my second full week, third full week second full week at my new job. I'm having a lot of fun with it. It's just a lot less stress, man. A lot less stress. I'm coming into these shows like way less burnt out, and I'm doing real good. Um, my stimmy hit on Wednesday, and
Yeah, man, everybody's getting that stimmy money.
bro, I think I went a little too hard.
Oh, no. It's okay. Save the rest, dude. It's going to be okay.
That's the problem.
Politicians are going to save us, man.
That's the problem. I have no more rest.
Oh, man, dude. Well, I hope that you got some really good stuff and it's worth it.
Oh, dude. So with that being said, man, so I got a Go XLR.
Oh, good shit, dude. Go
yeah,
shit.
dude.
Nice.
I don't have it right now for the production, right?
But it's going to be coming in.
But yes, it will be coming in. I'm going to be getting a new boom arm.
There you go. Trying to get everything set up really good, make it look good for the people. Trying to get our audience and just make the production look better.
Yeah. So and oh man, I was like fucking moments away from getting some nano leaves.
Oh yeah, I know what you mean.
They
sell some at Walmart, man. They sell some really cool ones at Walmart.
Yeah, but I wanted stuff that integrates with everything that I have. Everything that I have. And so because I have Philips Hue, I have Razer, like fucking everything, new mouse and shit like that. Like I've got Razer everything. I'm a huge Razer fanboy.
Well, dude, I mean, I actually was it was really cool this past week because I had the opportunity to actually go see all your setup and the way your house has all the lights and everything like that. But it was dude, it's really nice the way you have everything integrated, like all your living room lights, your kitchen lights, like dude, everything is literally all by your phone and stuff. It's so cool, dude. Like mine, I have like my little kiosk back here with the Average Boys logo. I got all that stuff and regular lights, but man, you're picking up my dude. You're picking up my dude.
And as it is, man, I actually got some and these will be here on Tuesday. I actually got lights, right? Some lights for the set that'll be, here and here. And dude, oh my god, dude, I'm so excited. So excited.
Excellent, man. Hey, well, like I said, I got over to your house this past week because I had the privilege of being a guest at your place because we got to watch the Snyder Cut. I want to say what's up to all our people that are watching right now. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. We'll see you guys in the comments in a little bit, but before we take too long, I don't want to keep our guest in the green room. We brought on today a very special friend of ours. He's always been very supportive of our show. And we've always been supportive of the things that he does. And the reason why I had to bring him on is because me and my boy Pete Martinez have had the craziest conversations about the DC universe. And it just so happens that we had the privilege of all watching the Snyder Cut this past week. And I wanted to get, of course, Trigger, I wanted to get my reaction, but I wanted to bring in someone who is a really big fan of the franchise. I wanted to see what it was like for someone who got like the blessing of what they've been waiting for. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce our guest. Guys, welcome Pete Martinez. What's up, my dude? How's it going, Pete?
Hey, guys. There you go.
Hey, man. How's it been? How you been doing, brother?
Good, man. Just, living life and staying COVID free,
Hell yeah.
Dude, hey, you've actually been living a pretty exciting life because you've been active when it comes to like the con scene almost and still keeping that pace going with your events and stuff like that.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we've definitely with the help of Quinn Comics and the Flux and Aaron McCallan, and of course I have a very good team with Miss Margaret from PokeFest and Michael and all our staff. We've been very blessed to be able to still bring some stuff to the fandom. With Power Rangers, and of course we're doing Cobra Kai now and some Mandalorian and all that. So we've been very fortunate to do it and do it safely. I think that's number one. From somebody who's had COVID, I had it. It sucked. It wasn't fun. But now that we're able to kind of get back to some type of normalcy, to try to do these things safely is really what's important for us.
Well, I'm glad that you're safe, man. I remember when you had put up online that you were quarantined yourself and you isolated yourself because you ended up catching the V, man. Since you got it, we've actually had shows based on that and bringing in people who've got their vaccines and done that stuff, but we haven't had the opportunity to talk to someone who's actually had the virus. From the strain or the situation that you had, do you notice any different effects that were long-term that stayed with you past the situation?
Thank God, nothing major. My sense of taste is still a little off. Like, if I try to drink like regular Coke, it tastes like dirt to me.
What the fuck? That's crazy, dude.
It's really weird. But other than that, thank God, nothing really. I don't have any breathing issues. I pretty much got everything but the breathing issues when I had it. But nothing really that stood out, lingering.
Well, what about your sense of smell and stuff like that?
It smells good, thank God. But when I had it, I lost my sense of smell, I lost my sense of taste. I mean, I was hungry because I was eating, but
and that just like trips me out, man. Because like I always think to myself, like like if I cough too hard, like, oh my God, dude, I got it, I got the vid, right? and then I think to myself, I was like, does everything taste normal to me? Like, what would that be like? I'm just trying to like wrap my head around what it's like to not smell or taste things. I mean, those are like, like as a food connoisseur, those are two pretty necessary senses for me to have. And I'm like, dude, I can't fucking imagine like not being able to taste or smell something. And
it definitely messes with your head. Yeah, it definitely messes with your head. It's really, I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy. Honestly, it's pretty rough, and I got off easy. You know what I'm saying? I didn't have to go to the hospital. I didn't have to. It was just quarantine at home, and certain days were better than others. It feels a lot like the flu, but in the same token, I mean, you can when if you have COVID, you're going to have it. Like you can feel it.
Was there a peak moment, like a peak day that it was like the roughest compared to the others? Like, did you feel like it was like?
There was one day where I had to take these meds that one of my friends, she's a doctor, she gave to me. She works with COVID directly. And she basically said, hey, don't take the Z-Pack, don't take this other stuff here, work with this. Okay. And she gave me, it was called ivermectin. And the first time I took it, I had a little stomach issue and I was like, okay, maybe it's just the COVID, whatever, right? And the second dose you take 3 days later, and that second dose, oh my God, man, I broke down and like in this, I was sitting, like I was using the restroom and I was sitting there, trying to collect myself. And I just felt like every pore in my body was just pouring sweat. Like I could just feel every pore opening up. It was so weird. My senses opened up and I was just drenched in sweat. And I couldn't move. I was trying to reach for my phone to call my wife. I was trying to yell out for my son's name. I couldn't move. I thought I was going to die. Honestly, I really, that's what it felt like, but it was a medicine reacting to the virus or whatever.
Wow.
Oh shit.
And
man.
I literally called my friend and I'm like, hey, what is going, I mean, after 30 minutes, it's just sitting there and I'm like, what is going on? I finally collected myself and I was fine, but it felt like I was going to pass out. I called her and she's like, oh, that's normal. That's the second dose is what really gets.
What the fuck, dude?
That would have been
like
nice
a little
to know,
warning next time. God damn it, man.
I mean, she's very busy. She's very busy with, working with her COVID unit up where she's at right now. And so I don't fault her in that at all. She pretty much saved my life because I think if I wouldn't have taken that, it would have been a lot worse.
Oh yeah, probably.
My wife, she got both doses of the vaccine, and her second dose was pretty rough, dude. Like she had to take a couple days off of work, and that second day, or like day 0 was like the day that she took it. So like day 1. I mean, dude, she was a fucking mess, dude. A mess. And that, she didn't move for like 18 hours. I mean, I brought everything to her, everything. And then that night when we went back to sleep, she was like, I woke up like 3 times just completely drenched in sweat. Completely drenched. And like she would like have towels and she was like wiping herself down and stuff like that. It was rough, but like that's just taking the vaccine, not even having the virus. And I just think to myself, I was like, God damn, dude, like how bad could it have been if she actually caught the virus or something like that?
Yeah, without getting too political with it. I mean, and this is just my personal opinion, I won't take it at all. Just until I know for a fact that I'm going to be safe. It just feels like something that was rushed, and I personally wouldn't take it right away. My wife is a nurse.
You're talking about the vaccine?
Yeah, the vaccine itself.
Okay.
I mean, as far as what I was explained to me by my doctor was saying, basically, once you have COVID, you're basically having immunity for 3 to 4 months. And that's literally what the vaccine does for you. It's kind of like the flu shot. You get the flu shot, you have, you're immune for a year or whatever it is. You get a yearly vaccine. So, I mean, I'm going to wait until I feel like it's safer,
I mean, Triggs will tell you, I'm one of those skeptic kind of people too. I take a lot of people's opinions and stuff like that. Me personally, I don't really do a lot of medication in general. So I don't do Tylenols when I get headache. I don't do aspirin. I don't do anything like that. The only time that I ever really take medication is when I do catch something like the flu or something like that. I'll take amoxicillin like every good Mexican does that lives close to the border. Yeah, I'll take some penicillin pills and all that good stuff, and then of course Sprite and some Vaseline on my feet with the socks on. I really hit it the way get a little bit of Wevel action going on. But I'm probably in the same boat you are, Pete. Like I'm a little bit like still skeptical about it. But then that's the same thing with me and the idea of like energy drinks and things like that. Like we don't know the long-term effects of what these things are going to do to us. Like we're taking huge risks. Like by now, everybody's pretty much addicted to Monsters and all this really high caffeine action, but we don't know what it's going to do to us when we're a lot older when it comes to the situation. So like even the virus, like it's brand new to the world. So like, I mean, fuck, dude, taking a vaccine right now. Yeah, it's scary. And I can tell you, like, I appreciate those who have taken the step to do it. Like, I appreciate you guys, like whoever's out there that's done it, like, much love to you guys. And of course, like we're all, praying for you that you guys pull through with the vaccine and stuff too, because it's a scary situation. It's just scary in general.
Yeah, it definitely is. And teach your own.
I'm happy that I'm happy you pulled through, bro.
Me, I will be taking it. I'm still looking for a vaccine. And so the reason that I'm taking it isn't necessarily because of like anything that like I'm like, oh well, I'm around this, but the fact that I've already been around it. When I was a field tech during like the height of COVID and stuff like that, I had to go to people's houses. So I'm more than sure like I've been exposed to it and stuff like that. I didn't catch it, but nonetheless, I just don't want to catch it. Is this vaccine rushed? Yes, it is. But with the amount of drugs that I've done, I'm all right.
All the other drugs I'm doing, I mean, fuck, you might as well.
I'm gonna be okay. I got the fucking smallpox vaccine when I went overseas. I'll be okay. That left a pussy.
I would just want to say welcome to everybody in the chat. Thank you guys for tuning in. We got our boy Robert, Crisella Rodriguez. Thank you for coming in. Sal, Kyle, Norma Baqueta, Beceta. That's a cool name. Brand new to the chat though. We've never seen you, so welcome to the chat. Robert put up and says, I took it and I just felt drowsy the next day, man. My arm was the only thing that was hurting. That's been a lot of people talking about it also, right? A lot of people have talked about this, the arm being sore, maybe a little bit tired, a little bit like, nauseous from it or whatnot. But the only person that I know that kind of had a really bad situation was my friend Kevin. And we were going to try to bring him on the show because he was one of the first guys that I knew that got a vaccine and he works in the hospital. But he ended up getting COVID 3 times, dude. He got COVID 3 times, and he's like the 3rd time after he took his vaccine, fucked him up so bad. And I was just like, but dude, I mean, respect to him because he's constantly in arm's length of someone that has it, and getting it for a 3rd time, that's hella rough. That's heroic shit, man.
Dude, I'd be like, I'm gonna live forever, dude. I'm gonna live forever. Fuck it.
But using that as a segue, talking about heroes. Let's get into this conversation. Now, boys, have we been blessed with something really, truly awesome. It took a very long time coming. It took an entire army, a fan base army to get this thing started. But we finally had the opportunity and we all finally got something in blessing. The Snyder Cut Justice League was released, I believe, this past Wednesday night. I guess Thursday would be the official day that it came out. It was a whopping 4 hours long. And I tell people not only was it a film, but it was a fucking adventure.
Yeah.
It was quite the show. I guess what we'll do is we're gonna go through each other. I'll let you guys go first. Whoever wants to, actually, I would like to hear Pete because
actually, Pete, what were your initial thoughts?
Yeah,
expectations, things like that. Like with the film, like what did you like? How did you go into this film? Like, did you go in as a skeptic? Did you go in as somebody who was like, you know what, this is going to be trash? Did you like go into it like, hey, you know what, if this fucking saves it, hell yeah. If it doesn't, well then, oh well.
Well, I mean, when you got to realize I'm a huge DC fan. So from, original Batman all the way to, fucking Man of Steel,
Heck yeah.
Batman vs Superman. I mean, everything, even the fucking Aquaman. Like, I've loved them all. You know what I'm saying? So when I first saw the original Justice League, I heard that Joss Whedon, of course, took over, and I was like, well, that's kind of weird. Why would he pick Joss Whedon of all people? It's not even the same type of directing style. And I was like, well, so I went in there with an open mind, and I loved it at first. And we went back me and my wife saw it like 5 times in theaters. It was crazy. When we got to like the 3rd or 4th time, it was like, something's off about this movie. Like, I didn't really notice it at first, because at first you're like geeking out. You're like, oh man, this is so cool. Like they're together, And then we got to 3rd and 4th time. I'm like, there's something really off about this movie. It's cut really weird. It's cut. It's not, there's something off, And I started doing a little bit of poking around, and I'm like, I started thinking and started reading on the Snyder Cut. I'm like, this isn't the movie that we were supposed to get. I started reading the actual script that we were supposed to have. And I was like, why the hell would WB not release?
And off on that. Yeah.
And I'm like, that's, so anyways, so we went through all that, and, people were petitioning for the Snyder Cut. I signed it. I'm like, hell yeah, I want a Snyder Cut. And as bad as people rag on Batman vs Superman, I loved it. I love the darkness. There's no humor on there. I just love the grittiness. It's so cool. But so we, finally, me and my wife, I've been looking forward to yesterday for, a couple of years now, since we heard about it, that we were going to get it. And, so I was, really excited, and, my wife took the day off, and, the kids were with us, and my daughter lasted about an hour into the movie, and she was done. And then me and my son and my wife watched it. And, at the end of the movie, it was just, it felt like, it just felt like perfection to me. Like, there was very little, minimal issues that I had with the movie, little things, but nothing like, it wasn't anything like the original Justice League that we got. I'm like, what the hell was WB smoking when we got that other cut, which I have right here, this thing is trash. I told my wife, I'm probably going to burn this, because if they come out with the other one on DVD, why the hell do I want this?
Just memorabilia, I think it'd be good, like memorabilia, as in like, hey, you remember the time that WB really fucked up like a really good story?
Yeah.
Right there.
Well, I mean, it also goes back with the idea of the collector. You don't collect things that are perfect. You collect things for their imperfections. Yeah. And then that's what makes them more expensive, is because people have that mentality that they want to like they want to destroy the original one because it's like not good. And then it becomes more rare. So you may be sitting on a gold mine if you keep that DVD in mint condition.
I doubt it. But, it's, somebody on the comments, so we'll just commented about Avengers, and like, look, I love Marvel too. I think it's great, but I prefer DC. And what I mean by that is,
that's fair.
You can be a fan of both. You really can. And you can't compare the two, because you have a very lighter side. And Chris and I have talked about this before too. Yes. You have a very lighter side in Marvel, where kids can relate to Spider-Man. They can relate to Captain America. Then you have the darker, grittier side of DC. Kids can't relate to Batman or Superman.
Gods amongst men, man.
Yeah, Batman's literally the perfect man. Like, he's 0% body fat, the perfect physique, the perfect everything as far as fighting. It's just, to me, it's you can't compare the two. So when people are like, oh, Marvel's better than DC, it's like, well, maybe as far as attracting younger viewers and attracting people to their movies and making people laugh during the movie, that's great and all, but I prefer the darkness. I prefer the grittiness of DC, and I always will.
Well, the way that I've always described the difference between Marvel and DC has always been very subtle, in the way that like people are always like, well, this, that, and the other about Marvel and DC. Like no one's relatable in DC. How are you gonna have a guy who loses mommy and daddy, and 8 years later is like the world's best detective and knows everything about everything. You know, the way that I've always described Marvel versus DC is Marvel are the people that you can relate to because they have a story just like yours, but DC are the people you want to be just like. The people
It's the actual mythology, the actual Greek mythology, where you look at those people and you can't relate to them because they're just out of our reach.
Yeah.
So all you could do is
the person
watch.
that you want to strive to be. Yeah. You know, like a man who is literally who's looked up to, you know, by gods. You know, people who are just so like magnanimous and so incredible that's exactly who you try and be around. You know, you shape fundamentals about yourself to, you know, emulate these people. And, you know, like it's a lot of back and forth, and a lot of DC and Marvel, like, you know, purists are going to be like, no, fuck DC, and, you know, and same, you know, vice versa and stuff like that. I'm more of a Marvel fan, but I will never, ever, ever say that I dislike or am not a fan of DC. I've been a fan of DC, not quite as long as I have of Marvel, but oh my God, there are some DC stories out there that, I mean, just make you cry.
Yeah.
So, and you know, going, I'm sorry, Chris, to cut you off.
No, go ahead, brother.
Going back to, you know, the Snyder Cut, you have like 3 or 4 stories, major DC stories in that movie. You're really like, damn, you know. And it started with Batman vs Superman. Really Man of Steel, but Batman vs Superman really explored Flashpoint. It really explored the Injustice line, even somewhat Final Crisis. You know, it's like it's all in there. You know, and for people to be like, oh, it's not as good as Marvel. Yeah, maybe in your take because you're just, you know, most people that go to comic book movies aren't comic book readers. They don't read it.
Yeah.
And Snyder is really, you know, Zack Snyder's more about pleasing the comic book reader, you know, the people that read them every day and go and, you know, live through these stories. And it's, to me, it was a very powerful movie. I loved it. I thought it was great.
I have to agree with that statement. I thought it was, yes, a very powerful movie. You know, initial impressions, you know, and not to like be like, oh, well, it's my turn. You know, initial impressions for me were like, you know what? There's a lot of hype around this. I want this movie to do well. I really, really want this movie to do well. So let's see it. And so I had several friends over. You know, I had Chris, I had Christella, his roommate. I had, you know, a few other friends of mine that came over as well. And man, it was just nothing but laughs and just a great time with that movie. You know, I had to watch it again because I knew that we missed stuff because, you know, we were all just laughing at something. And Chris Jaded just kept getting shut down, dude. I think that was for me like my biggest takeaway from that movie. Chris Jaded got fucking shut down.
That's my alter ego.
Dude.
My alter ego is Chris Jaded. I am a really big stickler when it comes to continuity and storytelling, and I think that's always just been my problem with the DC movies. But then again, it's like you can ask Trigger, you can talk to any one of my friends. I am a huge fan of comic books in general. I am an encyclopedia of both sides.
But
and the reason why is because
a comic book movie, he will tear it.
Yeah, I will tear it the fuck up, all of them. But it's just because of the fact that I am a stickler for the hero's journey, right? Is the idea of knowing that you have your character, the antagonist, the protagonist, the rise, the climax, the failure, and then the rise to the hero nature. There's a procedure it follows. And I feel like DC with, of course, like Man of Steel, well, not really Man of Steel. Man of Steel was a really good intro for Superman. But the problem is like, I think they focus too much on power leveling him out rather than building his character more like deeper, where you see a lot of his character development, his heart in this film. You saw a lot of heart from when it came to the Superman when he returns, more than his previous films. But in Batman versus Superman, there was a lot of different comic elements where they kind of brought in a bunch of different variations of the story. But that's always been the problem with the DC films for me, is that they're constantly rushed. Like they're trying to get there fast and they're trying to get to the big stuff without breaking down a lot of the things. So when the first Justice League movie came out for me, I know exactly what you mean when Joss Whedon took over compared to Zack Snyder. Like I was very like, Well, that's going to be really weird. That's just a really weird choice for directors. But I think that business-wise, WB chose Joss Whedon because he made the Avengers successful. But what WB doesn't understand as a company is that the Russo brothers and Joss Whedon built all the characters up first and then threw them into that Avengers movie. And that whole, like, when Joss Whedon probably entered that established part with the story and the original vision of Zack Snyder, I kind of feel like he looked at it and was like, holy shit, like, what do I do with these extra characters that haven't been like explained? Like I think the greatest thing that came out of this movie was, of course, the Cyborg story was probably the best thing. Like, if you're a DC fan, you love the Justice League, like, Cyborg, like, over the last 10 years has grown as a character in such a great way. Like, just fun. Like, that was like the biggest joke for us watching this film was we expected the booyah. And I know that the actor said he didn't want to say it because the character was known for it. But
Fuck
we were
you,
like,
dude, you say it anyway.
Yeah, we were like, I don't care what you want, man. Just say it because we want it. Because there was so much fan fiction already established in the film that would have kind of like tipped the beer foam off of the top of the glass. Like, it would have topped it off. Like, it would have made it feel good if just one time he would have been like, booyah, or something. Just like, even in a light way, it would have been wholehearted. Like, I don't know if that makes sense.
It does. And I'm okay with him not saying it because of what happened, without spoiling what happened in the movie to him. Does that make sense? Like, everything that he saw.
Oh yeah, dude. His whole entire backstory is like so tragic, dude. Like, that's why I was saying, like, the story development for Cyborg in this film
was way better.
Was amazing, dude.
Way better.
But you see, like, this is the only problem that I have with this is that I think that we can all come to terms that the movie being 4 hours long deserved to be several movies. I think we can all come to terms with that because we were shown that in a 4 hour frame, which is a long fucking film, they were able to pull off a bunch of stories that were great, that were fantastic, which is exactly what huge fans like Pete, like yourself, like, have been waiting for. Like, they showed that they could do that. The sad part is that it happened with this in a 4 hour long film, which if they would have established this in 3 films, you would have had more content, more story development, and more. Dude, the action scenes were amazing.
A1.
A like class act, dude. Like, it was just through and through is a great film. I just feel sad that it was 4 hours. Like, does that make sense?
And I think the reason behind that is going back to what it was originally supposed to be. Was supposed to be a 2-part movie. You know, it was supposed to be Justice League and Justice League 1, Justice League 2. And the reason we got a 4 hour movie now is because he doesn't know if he's going to get a chance to, if WB's even going to let him make another movie after this. So he was like, fuck, I'm going to throw everything on there and, you know, and make a movie the best way I can. And if it works, it works. If not, then, you know, so be it.
So from what I've heard, actually, like, it was actually supposed to be a trilogy. And the only spoiler that I'm really going to give is that, there is a cliffhanger. You know, there's a really big cliffhanger. And, that cliffhanger was there because he was kind of like, all right, this is like my swan song, and here's my cliffhanger. I want to let you guys know that I had way more planned. You know,
and he actually had an interview a couple days ago where he said exactly what he was planning on doing, you know, and if
WB was so fucking cool, dude.
I know. If WB is smart, they would let him just continue the Snyderverse. And if it doesn't work,
it very well might happen. It very well might happen.
I mean, more than likely with the way WB is as a business, where they're just kind of like money grabbing, it will be successful. Like, he showed that he's able and comprehensively able to make it work. Right. But then again, it's like, I only take it at face value because, like we saw, they released the Justice League film, the first one, right? It wasn't accepted well, and it was accepted tragically, not very fancy. But of course, comic book lovers cannot say it wasn't better than all the late 90s, early 2000 comic book films that were coming out. Like this, the original Spider-Man and the Fantastic Four movies and the X-Men franchise. It was way better than all of those put together.
Right, of course.
But it was just one of those things, like it did not reach because of, and I think this is because of the comparing to Marvel, it didn't reach that style of film masterfulness or build up or it didn't get that type of hype. And that's where I think all of this, like there was a strong devotion for people saying, well, you know what? It's not fair. Like they should have kept Zack Snyder. And then that's what gave this opportunity. And then with all that time that Zack Snyder had, of course, mourning the death of his child and you know, dealing with his situation with his family and then coming to terms and then coming back to living life back to the fullest as much as he can. You know, he had that opportunity to study what went wrong with the original film and then say, hey, well, you know what? Like, I think this will work better.
His wife
like,
told him not to watch it.
I mean, it's one of those things like you can't say yes or no in that. Like you have to understand that as an artist.
His wife is one of the producers. Deborah Snyder is one of the producers for the Justice League. And she was also removed, you know, she also removed herself from the movie as well when their daughter died. And
well, I don't know why they wouldn't. I mean,
yeah, and
Zach left. Why would she stay?
Fuck it, dude. Show must go on.
Yeah, she'll be like, all right, cool. You go mourn it. I'll take care of the movie.
Pussy.
They're all gonna leave.
Yeah, you know, like she saw the movie, she saw the Whedon cut, and she was like, "Don't watch it, don't." You know, WB. You know, I mean, granted, you know, these are just things that you see on Yahoo, on Google, and stuff like that. You know, you look up Snyder Cut, you know, or the Whedon cut and stuff like that. So until I hear an exec from WB say it himself, or hear an interview myself, I'm always going to take everything with a grain of salt. But supposedly, yeah, even WB had very little faith in the movie to begin with.
I mean, that could be the same thing as Suicide Squad. You know what I mean? Like,
it very well might be, yeah.
But they're still throwing the money behind it. They don't care about the success of the film. They just want to get their monies out of it. They see the worth in all these comic films.
I think in that particular case, it's like a Margot Robbie thing. They're like, bro, she's super marketable. She's hot as fuck. Keep throwing her in movies.
Well, I mean, dude, they also got Will Smith in the first film. Like, it wasn't like a slouch casting call. You know what I mean? Like, it's I just feel like Warner Brothers as a company does not respect DC enough. It doesn't respect it enough as a franchise. It's just one of those things like, oh, well, AT&T owns you, so we're just going to run with you. Oh, look at those guys over there being successful with Disney. We're going to do the same thing. Do exactly what they're doing. And we got to catch up because we got to do it first. That's all I felt from the beginning with all the movies. It didn't start getting better until Wonder Woman 1. Wonder Woman 1 was where it kind of was like, you know what? Like, let's kick it back a little bit. Like, Marvel does not have a female heroine except for Black Widow. Let's make it happen. Like, let's make it. And you could tell the difference between all the movies that DC was making and Wonder Woman 1. Then from there, it goes to my personal opinion. The next movie after that was probably good was, I think, I had a good time with Batman versus Superman. Of course, there was a lot of problems that came with it because of the constant jumping in the story and then the choice. I didn't really like the Lex Luthor Jr. character. I think he kind of was like, I think he was a bad choice for the way that they chose to write him, which is the same thing for a lot of people that. Riddler. Yeah, perfect. You know what I mean? Like there was just something about him that I didn't like. Like, I do like the way that Zack Snyder portrayed him, but it was so much easier to have him sitting down in a yacht, looking rich and talking shit, than it was to have him running Elon Musk's SpaceX and playing basketball in the lobby and then talking about Jolly Ranchers and shit.
I definitely get that. There's definitely one of those like, aspects where Jesse Eisenberg is not somebody who, you would consider to be, like the like person who plays Lex Luthor.
Yeah.
Just because you shave someone bald does not make him a Lex Luthor.
Well, it's like one of those things. Like, I guarantee, even though we didn't want to, we did compare the original Justice League movie to this one.
Yeah, you had to.
So if I'm not mistaken, you could quote me on this. I'm just gonna take a guess there, Pete. But when when Lex Luthor came out Jr., did you not compare him to the original Superman movies from the 80s? Did you not compare him to that Lex Luthor?
No, not at all. To me, from what I saw from the character building up from Batman versus Superman to what we got in Justice League, it was like the kind of like what he realized what he had done wrong. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, that, yeah.
You know what I'm
But I
saying?
feel
Like
that's more for the franchise. But what I'm talking about is the first time in Batman versus Superman when they introduced Lex Luthor Jr. Did you ever compare him to the original actor from like back in the day Superman movies from the Christopher Reeve series? I didn't.
No, because I didn't because it was a different take on the character for me, and to me it wasn't really Lex Luthor. You know what I'm saying? It was. Yeah. I honestly thought they were lying to. I really thought it was gonna be like the Riddler or something like that. Like we're gonna get like this, like a weird plot twist. But honestly, like I like him now the way they portrayed him. Yeah, like you said, it's easy to have him sitting on a yacht and talking shit. But at the end of the day, now that he's more grounded, now that he's been through Arkham and he's kind of had his mind kind of rewired, I think you're going to get if we get more movies with him in it, I think you're going to get a much more sinister Lex Luthor Jr., if that makes sense.
Yeah. No,
I agree. Jesse Eisenberg is an amazing actor. I don't give a fuck what anyone says, dude. Jesse Eisenberg knows what's up. The guy has been around. He's a funny guy. He can also do a very serious role. He was also the Zuck, in a Social Network or some shit like that.
Network.
And he was amazing in it. And the cast that they had for Justice League was amazing. Granted, Ray Fisher was kind of like the unknown there, but everyone else had like an established acting career beforehand.
I agree.
Even Mr. Cyberdyne himself, dude.
Oh, dude, yeah, man. Cyborg's dad. We were kind of
Silas.
When we were all watching it, we were really hoping he was gonna do a Terminator reference where he's doing the last breath, holding the switch. We were really, man. There was such an awesome moment there when he was going to put some button. All he had to do was do a couple breaths, but no, they didn't. I mean, but it was cool to remember that he was part of the Terminator franchise, and then them bringing him in as Cyborg's father. Like, you know what I mean? Like that callback to that is super amazing. Same thing with Dr. Manhattan being the Flash's dad. Same thing with Morgan being Batman's father in Batman versus Superman. What's his name?
And Maggie, yeah, Jeffrey Dean Morgan.
Jeffrey Dean Morgan and the Maggie character. And the moment I remember watching that movie for the first time, and the first time I saw them, I was like, Flashpoint Paradox. There's no fucking way they're gonna bring in that level of actor for like a 5-second role if you did not have a fucking purpose to bring him back. And I would love to see Maggie play a female Joker.
Well, without spoiling, so spoiler alert if you haven't seen it yet, jump off of this. Spoiler, we'll give people a couple seconds.
Well, I mean, the idea is we told people that we were going to talk about the reaction to this movie.
Okay.
So by all means, if you guys want to talk spoilers, everybody's had the opportunity to see it. It's not, this was a historical movie. If you have not seen it, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah.
At least watching
by all means, Pete, I want you to spoil it for me.
technically, the Flash has created a flashpoint. I mean, with him going back and reversing what Darkseid, when the Unity happened and the mother boxes joined, and
it's true.
He created a flashpoint when he reversed everything. So technically, he did, and I would not be surprised if you see Thomas Wayne and Martha Wayne in a movie.
I mean, I guess the idea is it would be his first taste of knowing that he could go back in time. But the thing is I was telling Trigger this too. He did it the first time when he reversed it by bringing Clark Kent back to life with the mother box, because the box falls in the water and then it comes back up when he's about to touch it. So he realizes, because right then and there, I even showed Trigger that he doesn't smash through the wall. He teleports through it. He would have literally just hit the wall because it's an encased room, but he literally disappears and reappears behind the wall next to it. So you can go back and watch it. He literally teleports right through the wall. So in that moment was his first opportunity of him kind of like touching the speed is what the Speed Force.
Mhm.
But then
Well,
in
he
the later
referenced it
part,
3 times.
yeah, man, in the later part of the film, he really benefits from it. Like he really understands it. I'm not gonna lie, the Flash introduction scene that kind of like made me feel a little creepy. Like I was a little creeped out by the way he was like kind of like, oh, like there was even we were even talking about like a hot dog hitting the girl in the face and then her moving the hot dog, and like it kind of just felt a little weird. But you know what that represented. It represented that girl was probably going to be Iris West. So that was like his lightning rod or whatever you want to call it, but a little too much information given with not enough information explained, I guess you could say.
And I really only had 2 real issues with the movie, and it's where Batman is, and you know me, I'm a huge Batman fan. They're trying to get the people out. You know, they got Steppenwolf, and Wonder Woman's fighting Steppenwolf, and the Flash is getting people out, and all of a sudden, Batman turns around and says, "Get people out of here!" And his voice sounded so weird. It was just such a weird scene, and I'm like, "What the hell was that?" My wife look at each other like, "Why did they do that for?"
Well, I mean, Trigger and I actually talked about that too. In a
my
way.
gripe was was a voice thing, but not necessarily in that scene, but just overall. Just overall, because like when he was around everybody, or at least when he has the suit on, he has that voice changer on, and he never has it the entire time in that movie. And I was like, where's his voice changer, dude? Like, why are you giving us fucking Christopher Nolan over here? You're Christopher Nolan right now.
So I think the major issue, I'm sorry, Chris, the major issue that I had too was, Batman would have never tried to form the Justice League. He would have figured out ways of why not to form the Justice League. And I think that was, and I told my wife, like, Batman would have never taken off his cowl and revealed to the other Justice League members that he's Bruce Wayne. Like, it just, it never would have happened, and that's really the only issue that I had with the Batman character, and the Flash tripping again on his, once he, touches the sword.
Oh, the Flash was so clumsy, dude. Every beat, like he was just so clumsy.
Yeah, I get he's new to it, but at the same time, I'm just like, I was just like, that really bothered me on both movies. I'm like, why the hell is he tripping over his feet? I mean, he would have seen that coming. He's that fast, like. I don't know. That just bothered me.
So Triggs, what was your gripe? That's a good call, Pete, because like it's interesting because I know like you're a really, really big fan, like and you're willing to put up with a lot to love this franchise too. But I mean, for 2 gripes, that's not too bad. Triggs, what about you?
Oh man, I'm trying to remember because I remember like I know that I had them yesterday, and I actually just rewatched it, and like I unfortunately I don't have my notes with me right now. But one of the gripes that I had was the fact that like the voice changer was never there. But another one that I had, and that you and I had spoken about, was that there was some comedic elements from the Joss cut that were not there, and there was a level of respect that Steppenwolf gave Cyborg when he first encounters him that isn't there.
Yeah,
like the line, like, "Oh, you were born of her."
You're born of the mother.
And I really, and when you mentioned that, I was like, dude, that's true, man. Like that was like a really like, okay.
There were some things too. Like the other one that kind of caught me was right then on that scene was the Flash's job. Like he did absolutely nothing except run up and down stairs. Except that last part was really cool.
That was
but I really liked what Joss Whedon did with his character in that part, where Batman turns around and because it shows his how green the Flash is at being a hero, and he's like, "What do? I've never fought anybody before." And Batman looks at him and goes, "Save one person, save one person," and then he's like, "And then what?" And he's like, "You'll figure it out." Like that line. For me, it hit me harder in the Joss Whedon than what it was here when he yells, "Just get him out." Like it was more of like a mentor, because if I'm not mistaken, in the comic books, Batman always loves Flash, Barry Allen, because he said that's who he would be if he could be a hero. Mm-hmm. Like it's the next hero he looks up to, because he knows that Barry Allen is willing to risk it all for the biscuit. Like, I guess that's the easiest way. It's almost like that's the other superhero that he looks up to as a hero. And Flash has a lot of respect for Batman in the comic books because he's methodical and logical, just like the way Barry Allen is when he does his job. He grew up as a forensic scientist. He doesn't just come to conclusions. That was the biggest gripe for me out of this whole film. Is halfway through the film, you have a Batman who's like, I'm literally basing everything on faith. I'm basing it on faith, guys. I'm faithful at this. He didn't do it with logic and reason. He was just like, have faith, Alfred, have faith. I was like, what are they doing with Batman? Why is he fucking smiling? Why is he in a chipper mood? And why is Aquaman so fucking ballin' fucking angry? Like, it's almost like Aquaman and Batman switched roles.
Yeah.
That's the only thing that was the biggest gripe for me is like, I tell you, like, I love comic books and I understand what Batman's position's supposed to be in the Justice League. He's supposed to be the guy that says, fuck your hope, Superman. I'm here for real plans. That's why he's the strategy guy. In every situation, Superman, the Flash, two guys with normal powers that have the ability to think in faster ways still look to this man to figure out plans for them. And he was not that character in this film. That to me was a real big disappointment.
I would have preferred to see Batman kind of already had contingency plans. He already had research on these guys, have contingency plans on how to take each of them down. Like we've seen on animated stuff, like we've seen on comics, he always have some type of contingency plan to take off, put the doubt in Green Lantern's mind and takes off the ring, Superman with kryptonite, Wonder Woman, get her heart, she doesn't quit until her heart stops. I mean, it's everything that we've seen and grown up on. It would have been nice to see it. I didn't have a big problem with the Flash and, the Whedon, everything that Whedon put in there on the Whedon cut was just trash to me. As far as the Flash, that line itself that you're mentioning, yeah, that makes sense. But at the same time, it still shows that he's very green because he's running around. He's like, I don't know what to do. You know what I'm saying? So it kind of represented at the same time. And I know what scene you're talking about, the one that you mentioned about, what that scene was really cool, where all the debris falling.
Oh, dude, that was a fucking beautiful scene.
I had to rewind it. I was like, I had to show my wife. I'm like, man, this is so fucking cool. Like this is.
And then he can't stop the last rock.
Yes,
that was super. I mean, I understand that they're trying to give it to Cyborg.
Goddamn much, dude. He gets shot all the time. How do you fucking move faster than time, but still find ways to get shot?
Yeah. I mean, he's very clumsy. I think it's because of the fact that it's the way that they're trying to show that he's still very fresh at being a hero and using his powers as a hero without them having an official movie with him, building him and maturing him as a character. They have to show him as like this like young Titan or a sidekick type of character, and he can't carry himself. Like most of the stuff that the Flash does in this film, other than the cool spectacle of his power when they show him as the Flash, he's dead weight. He's dead weight most of the time. It's almost like, and I don't mean it as any disrespect, Pete, but Batman was a lot of dead weight in a lot of the shots. He was constantly like just watching from above or swinging in with his gun.
I love how he always gets there as everything finishes.
Yeah, he was getting there when all the fucking here.
Like,
they go grave dig Superman. He lets them take him out. He just supplies the van. Like everybody's breaking into Star Labs and he's watching from a distance. And then they finally get in and he shows up and he's like, yo, Cyborg, turn off all the lights and the power or make everybody go out. When he could have just done that in the very beginning and just let them all go through. Like there was very weird things that they chose to do with the characters, which I mean, they're small gripes because it still felt good. It still felt good. But I think, Pete, this goes back to what we were talking about when I saw you at the con last time. Like, you can't fuck up a 4-hour film. Like,
yeah. The music, somebody mentioned the music in the comments right now, and the music itself felt weird. Like certain songs that they picked.
Aquaman scene.
Yeah, and I'm like, what?
God,
like
dude.
it was just it was just weird. And then the fucking the Lois Lane one, I get the representation of the music and what it's saying, but I was just like, that doesn't sound like Zack Snyder. Like you can tell the shots that were already shot and the shots that were reshoots, like where Martian Manhunter comes out. Those are, Ben Affleck, he's shaving. He looks skinnier on those shots than he did in other scenes. You know what I'm saying? He gets a completely different look. You can tell, just like the Whedon cut compared to the Snyder cut is completely different the way he looked. And I get that, but I think if he would have stuck with, just some different music, that music that was on there, not all of it. There was some really good stuff on
there was good score in some parts. Most of the battle scenes that when they had the orchestra playing, I thought were very, very well put together. And I do believe that like in the Joss Whedon cut, there was this really cool like Easter egg where you got to hear the Batman song, right? In this one, it's the Superman song. Like they do on the Whedon cut also. When he comes in, I think at the very end, it does the like you can hear it very little in the orchestra setting. But geez, dude, was that Aquaman scene of him walking out with the slow song and drinking dude, that was really hard to digest. I was laughing 80% of that part. And then when I even looked at Triggs and I was like, dude, what are they doing, bro? He drinks the whiskey and everyone knows Aquaman as being the fucking dude that's like, yo, save the ocean, don't fuck with it. Smashes the glass bottle on the fucking bridge to get the glass into the ocean and then throws his shirt off. Even though he swam there with it on, every time he's about to jump in the water, he has to take his shirt off, but he gets his shirt back. Like there was so many weird things with the Aquaman thing. I mean, I get it. He's the eye candy for the ladies. You know what I mean? Like they're like, hey, we got to do it, man. We got to make those little old ladies' heart blood pressure like spikes. So let's make it happen, Jason. Let's go, Momoa. Take your shirt off.
Yeah, and, it's kind of like granted, a lot of these things are just like nitpicks, at this point. Like that's just really what they are, is us being nitpicky.
No, I mean, I have general
like as do I. For me, I'm going to gripe about the fact that like Batman always came when everything stopped. He never had like any hand in anything until they get to Russia.
I really think that's because of the way that they handled him in it's the way that they handle him in literally everything. Like Superman is always like the uber strongest character written into every story, no matter what. So you can't just have him come in and just literally beats the living shit out of Steppenwolf while the rest of the Justice League is just there clapping and cheering him on in the back. He's literally beating the shit out of a disabled person practically. There was a little like, okay, I'll get into that in a little bit, but my thing is, this goes back to what we talked about in the very beginning of the show, that it shows that Zack Snyder and WB were capable and understood that each character needed to be fleshed out. I think that Zack Snyder, that yes, this was his vision, but I don't think it's the way they're really explaining it. I think he's just running like the virtue signaling for it, which is like, oh, you know what? This is exactly how I pictured it. He's kind of nitpicking these ideas too, where he knows where the fan base wants to see and what they've said that they wanted from the other film. And then he knows like, dude, there was no way that they were going to fit a Cyborg and Flash and Aquaman and a Wonder Woman story and the 3 boxes and the Steppenwolf screwing over Darkseid. There were no way they were going to do that in a 2-hour film. There was no way they were going to do that in the original format. Like, and the thing is the stuff that Joss Whedon got, he got the majority of the film and did a couple of reshoots, but this was a full-on film that Joss Whedon had to play with. So the shots that they had in the original Justice League did not have a lot of the cut stuff, right? But then they used $72 million extra dollars for what?
Well, from what I took from it was most of it was the CGI that was incomplete from the previous film.
It was the collapsing building, the electricity coming out of Steppenwolf's axe, a little bit of the Flash running, the black Superman costume. Like that's pretty much. But you can't say that's $70 million. You can't even say that's $4 million.
Think about how much it costs to freaking get that stupid mustache taken off of Henry Cavill. You know what I'm saying? I mean, that
no kidding.
Price tag on that. It was like, I mean, think about it. So we don't know exactly. From what I can take of it, 4 to 5 scenes that I could see that were definitely reshot. Like you can tell they were reshot for specifically the Snyder Cut. You know, from what I mean, keep in mind, I've only seen this movie twice, so to dissect it completely, it's kind of hard. But you know, from what I can tell, at least 4 to 5 scenes. I'm sure there was a lot more, but I just feel like they saw the movie, they saw for what it was, and they grabbed it and said, "Nope, never mind. Here, Josh, do magic." And
yeah,
best he could, you know. And I don't think, and obviously that movie sucked. You know, it was just
I for the Joss Whedon movie, for what it was, like, imagine having to finish a film that you didn't write, that you didn't score, that you didn't make the scenes for, and that you have no idea what the person's going to do. But someone brings you right in at the very end of that. Jose Novato Jr. says someone needs to get Pete some Arby's, man.
Honestly, been a while since I've had Arby's, but yeah, I can go for some.
Oh, but Arby's, yeah, man. The gyros, oh my god, they're so good.
No, I do the roast beef sandwiches.
Yeah, dude. We're going back to this, right? We have to take into consideration that Joss Whedon was put into this position, and it wasn't his art piece. Like, he was literally trying to finish the Mona Lisa when the dude was like 80 to 70 for 5% done with it. You know what I mean? It'd be hard as fuck. I give it up to him for taking at least the chance. Was it good? No. Was it Justice League DC Universe style? No. It was more to the other aspect of being like more of a Marvel happier movie, because he sees superhero movies differently than Zack Snyder. But you know what? I'm not gonna lie. Like, I don't. Zack Snyder can run a Justice League movie the way Joss Whedon did the Avengers, but I don't see him making like a Superman movie. And the reason why is because Zack Snyder does dark really well. And I still feel like there was a lot of key elements in this story that I was really disappointed with how he took the direction of the members of the Justice League on how they reacted. Like, and that was Superman lasering off Darkseid's horn, like going that extra distance.
I love that shit.
Well,
dude.
I mean, because it's gritty and dark and violent, but that's not Superman.
I'm all about that.
And then them
you
all
gotta realize this, but you gotta realize though, I'm sorry, Chris, to cut you off. You gotta realize this is a Superman that has just come back. He's the most powerful form of himself. He's still not all coherent there as far as his mind. He's beating the crap out of him. He's in a rage. You know what I'm saying? I mean, of course he's going to probably take at least his horn off. I mean, and then Wonder Woman cutting off Steppenwolf's head. I'm just like, dude, that was badass.
But you see, like, that's the thing is, if you read the comic books, then you know that universe is tainted. That's its schmick. That's its shtick. Which is like, if there was no dudes in that universe, that's that shtick. If there's no violence and when you punch someone, the word bang comes out, that's that shtick. In the universe that created the Final Crisis, it was Maxwell Lord that gets his neck broken by Wonder Woman, and it changes the entire aspect where superheroes can be the judge, jury, and executioner. That was the first time in comic book history that's ever really happened. And I feel like Zack Snyder doesn't get that he doesn't get that the heroes deep down inside are not supposed to do that, because that's them taking the law into their own. It changes Batman's dynamic completely if he kills people. Like, you can't tell me it doesn't change the dynamics of Batman if he goes off and kills. It's his whole shtick. If it's like, if he'll kill a dude walking across the street with a car, with smashing into him with a Batmobile, why doesn't he just fucking kill the Joker?
I mean, technically, he did kill people in Batman or Superman. He was blowing up cars.
Yeah, he killed like 80 million people.
Yeah,
and Joker's all cool.
I'm okay with that, because you see Batman as he's really hard and he's pissed. He's tired of this shit. He's probably like, fuck it, I'm just gonna start killing people. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's probably just tired of all the crime in Gotham. He's put up with it for 20 years.
That's not Batman. That's not Batman.
See, but certain stories, that is Batman. It depends on what story you pull from. Even Wonder Woman, she's told Batman she told him one I forgot the comic book series. She tells him, you know why I don't have any enemies? Because when I put him down, I put him down. She tells Batman to his face. You know what I'm saying? I mean, that's she doesn't play around when it comes to her enemies. She takes them out.
Same thing happened. The same thing happened with Punisher and Daredevil. That exact line was taken, directly from the comic book.
But that's Marvel. Hey, that's portrayed as. That's why the Punisher is the Punisher, though.
Granted,
what I mean. Like,
but that's still goes to the fact of what Wonder Woman was saying. He was like, when you put down somebody, they get back up and they do it again. When I put down somebody, they stay down.
So you're saying that since the Punisher does it, it's okay for Batman and Superman to do it?
No, we're saying
even though that's their entire story that they don't.
We're saying that Wonder Woman has had absolutely no problem killing ever.
Oh yeah, she grew up in a warrior race. That's understandable.
Stop her from doing that. Yeah, when she killed Maxwell Lord, that's because no one was around. She was like, "Fuck it," correct?
Yeah, but that's the thing. That's Wonder Woman, and I understand that's Wonder Woman, but that's not Batman and Superman. Like literally in the first film with Man of Steel, you have Superman doesn't want to let Zod laser 3 people, but Batman didn't mind slamming and fighting them in a major populated city with a bunch of buildings where you knew there was going to be major casualties, right? It would have been a smarter move for Clark Kent to grab Zod and fly off into the desert somewhere, but he didn't. He chose to fight him in the city. That's not a smart move for Superman. And Batman, I mean, dude, you said it, Pete. He literally kills a bunch of motherfuckers in the first movie. In Batman vs Superman, he's literally killing dudes with rubber bullets, like just straight murking. He hits a dude with a fucking box in the mouth. That dude is 100% dead.
See, but
he grenades a dude.
I loved that portion of Batman because I'm so sick of the Batman is like, oh, I don't kill. It's against my code. Like,
fucking thank you. Thank you.
I'm tired of it. Like it's cool. That portion's cool, but this isn't Christian Bale Batman. This isn't Christopher Nolan Batman. This is a hardened Batman that's been doing this for 20 years in Gotham, and he's tired of it. He's tired of locking people up in Gotham. He's tired of them getting out. He's like, I'm done with it. You know, he's taken the Wonder Woman approach. And when it comes to Superman, a lot of people give him, my friend Mark gives me crap for Superman. He's like, I hate the faces that he makes from Man of Steel all the way to now. You have a conflicted Superman that doesn't know his place in the world, from Man of Steel to Batman versus Superman. He thinks he doesn't know where he belongs. Now you have a confident Superman. He could have literally killed Steppenwolf by himself and ripped his head off if he wanted to, but all he did was he sent a message, cut his horn off. And then Wonder Woman sends him off with his head cut off as well. I mean, that to me, sending that message to Darkseid, that was awesome, dude. That's what I want to see in a movie. I don't want to see somebody getting back up, or you have to deal with them later on like that. To me, that's, you send a message to Darkseid, that's what you deal with. You know what I'm saying?
It's just one of those things. Like, I guess I'm just a stickler for the old stories, right? Which isn't even old, because the Superman that you're explaining is literally the New 52 Superman, which everybody hated. And then they literally brought back the old school the Clark Kent Superman, the actual one that wore the black suit, who was the 2 Superman at the time, because you had the New 52 and you had the multiversal Christopher Reeves Superman, you could say, Black Superman, the one that originally died, where they had to merge them together because the New 52 one was not accepted because, he was conceited. He was a jerk. He was like, hey, what's up, bro? I got powers too. What you got? And he was, trying to fight Batman like fist to fist. And, there was a lot of things that a lot of people, he wasn't accepted well. That Superman was not accepted well. And then literally DC, the entire company was like, "Bah, man, we fucked up. What do we do?" And they're like, let's multiverse the old school Superman with Lois Lane from that, and bring in Jonathan Kent. Fuck it, they got a kid, and let's merge them together and make up one, and let's delete the New 52 and bring in the old Superman, because everybody loves the Hope Superman. Everyone loves the Hope Superman. If you don't have the Hope Superman, there's no conflicting anything about him. It's not even the fact that he's confidence that makes him great. It's that he's humble that makes him great. The confident Superman is the part that's like, I mean, he knows he's got power. He knows he's uber strong and all this stuff. But it's when he's humble that you see that virtue in him. I don't know, like watching the part at the end. It wasn't the part with the horn. It's the part right before that. He's punching Steppenwolf, and then he lasers him and then punches him a couple times. Steppenwolf is done. Like, there's no way that Steppenwolf is going to stand up after that shit. Like, he knows he's outclassed. And then the scene changes and it goes off to a little bit more, and then it comes back and Superman is still beating the fuck out of him.
Just in case you fucking
just to kind of encase him. And it's one of those things like, that wouldn't be Superman. He would still try to be diplomatic in a way. In the other styles, he would still be like, hey, you know what? Like, have you had enough? I think you've had enough. Like, that's enough. I understand that Wonder Woman is a different story. But that ending scene where Aquaman stabs him through the chest and then they fucking hamburger patty him and then fucking Wonder Woman comes in with the zucchini chop and shit like that. I feel like Superman would have been like, what the fuck are y'all doing? Like, we already kicked his ass. You didn't have to kill the dude. We don't do that as heroes. You know what I mean? Like, there's a part of me that feels that that's missing. Because now that they killed Steppenwolf like that, like the next problem the Justice Leagues get together, they're going to be like, well, let's just make sure we get him out and kill him. You know what I mean?
So maybe it's a cynic in me. I was 100% okay with it because once again, it's sending a message to Darkseid, and literally they threw him right to the portal, and they're like, here, because Darkseid, even if they let him live, he was going to kill him anyway.
Yeah, but that's not the Justice League's job, though.
Correct.
You know what I mean?
It sends a message to Darkseid, say, hey, all right, you want to send your best guy here? Okay, we'll take care of him, and this is what happens when you come and mess with us. You know what I'm saying?
100%. That part reminded me of the Injustice story when Darkseid's son shows up and Superman beats the fuck out of him and kills the son of Darkseid. That's what that reminded me of.
Well, when you think about it, the whole Batman vs Superman, including this one, was very Injustice-like.
Yeah, I mean, I could see that, but
I mean, they were basically teasing Injustice that entire movie anyway.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, I can see that. I mean, we talked about it too, Triggs, on the show before. I told you Injustice. I was like, dude, Injustice. And you were like, I really hope not. I really hope not.
I love Injustice. I love Injustice.
Any comic
I got very bored of Injustice.
Any DC comic book fan, any DC comic book fan will remember this, and literally it's embedded in our DNA, is the Superboy Prime punching the multiverse open. Right? That even though Superboy Prime is like the most broken fucking character in the DC universe, we all remember that historic scene. And the reason why he did that was because Wonder Woman killed Maxwell Lord, and superheroes are not supposed to kill, and it angered him that much. And he came from a world that didn't kill people. But then the moment that he broke it, and then flew into the universe, and then he fought the Teen Titans, he ended up massacring like what, 6 of them or 4 of them? Like killing them, like literally killing them. And he was like, while he's punching them, he's crying. And he's like, it's not supposed to go this way. But it's that universe. And I feel like the idea of it going the Injustice way, like, I think it's an okay story, but you can't, the way that they kind of set it up with the Nightmare Realm, I don't quite understand. Like, the only thing that I got from the Nightmare sequence is that Darkseid, it looked like the Omega beams are what hit Lois Lane. Because she's all charred in Superman's hands. She's like just bones. She's just a bones body. But that's 100% knowing that the Joker did not kill Lois Lane. That almost changes the whole dynamic of how Injustice starts, because the entire purpose on it.
Yes and no.
Well, the entire purpose is based on the idea that if Batman would have stopped the Joker,
yes, but this is
Lois Lane would have never died.
Yeah, but this is the thing, though. With that particular story, it's just Lois dying. That was the key catalyst. It could have been the Riddler. It could have been Captain Cold. It could have been fucking Killer Croc.
She was a key.
Yeah. If she died, he loses it. It's not that it was Joker that did it. It was that she died.
And for what I've read is that it's on Batman, because apparently Superman was dealing with Darkseid. He said, guard Lois no matter what. This is what I've read. This is what Zack Snyder said.
I've read the same thing.
He's like, take care of Lois no matter what. And she died he wasn't paying attention. She died under his watch, and he blames her. He blames him. You know, at the end of the day, you know, you're a huge Thor fan, right? And I get why Thor cut his head off, Thanos, but it's kind of the same thing. Why did he have to kill Thanos? He didn't have the Infinity Gauntlet anymore. He wasn't powerful anymore.
Yeah, it was a weakness. It was a sign of weakness. And then they built on that story part. Even when he sees his mother, he even cries and tells her, I killed this man. But they built on it. You know what I mean? They built on it. We can't really compare that yet to what DC's doing. Because it's one of those things like, well, what do you compare it to? Like Superman literally kills on an everyday basis almost. He's wiped out 50 million people in the first movie. If Lois Lane dies, he's a pretty selfish superhero if that's what turns him against the world. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. Like, I like the reference that Lois, like, I mean, it's so cool, dude. I love this conversation. It's making me think even more. The idea that Lois Lane might have been pregnant
diverts the conversation. He was like,
she was pregnant.
During the Snyder Cut.
She was pregnant. They showed a pregnancy.
Well, they showed the pregnancy test.
Yeah.
But they didn't really show the thing. They just showed the box. Like that's what's kind of like, damn it. Like and that makes me excited because Triggs and I were both fan of Super Sons. Like we're both fans of Jonathan Kent. Hi.
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 And at the end of the day, too, when he buys back the house for Clark, he tells him congratulations. He's not telling him congratulations because of the house. He's telling him congratulations because she's pregnant.
Oh, you see, like I didn't even get that reference.
Yeah, go back and see it. He tells him.
I'll have to go back because that changes dynamically too for the story because that would be a good reason for him to be angry on why. If he cannot protect Lois, why it would make him even more angry because the pregnancy is a factor too. Like that would be a very interesting. I didn't. Yeah, you're right, man. I need to go back and I need to make sure I see that part. I didn't like the. I mean, I was okay with the black Superman suit for the fight at the end because it's the last one. I didn't dig it with a cape though. I didn't dig it with a cape.
I was okay with it. The only part that bothered me was when he he hears something and he's running, he's taking off, and he had the black suit on.
Oh, he still had it on.
I know, and I'm like, why didn't they do the original suit? But I was like, whatever. I mean, because on the
we all kind of had that gripe. We were like,
fix the color.
Still have that fucking suit on.
They were ran out of budget or something. Who knows?
Right. The other thing render the fucking suit.
The other thing that I was kind of iffy about too was the way they introduced the Martian Manhunter at first. The later part at the end was really nice. That was really, really cool. But the first one, when he introduces himself as Martha Kent to Lois Lane, like I didn't quite get that.
It was a throwaway
because how I guess it's the mind reading thing. You can chalk it up to anything, I guess. But like, why would he care? Like, why would Martian Manhunter, out of all his might and glory, like really care that Lois Lane's just hanging out at home moping over Superman's death and not going back to work? You know what I mean? Like he wouldn't understand that about humankind. You know what I mean? He would be more in the sense, because he lost his entire race and family, he would be more in the sense of like, oh man, dude, like I'd be bummed out too. Like she's still in a 9-month grieving process because she's pregnant in some way. She's not showing. So it's gotta be like what? A couple of days. Like I don't know how to explain that in the sense of how long the time has passed since Superman died in the Justice League story. And I guarantee maybe I've just missed it. Like Batman said it somewhere, like it's been months or whatever. But if Lois Lane was pregnant, she's not showing yet.
I think, and not to rain on your Martian Manhunter reveal, but
that's fine.
The reveal that nobody's talking about. Blue Beetle, man.
Oh, the dude at the end, right?
Yes, that's Blue Beetle.
Is that who that was? Because I thought it was Adam.
So.
It's
Adam. It's Adam. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. I thought it was Adam.
Yeah, my bad.
And I remember I was right there with Trigger, and the guy goes, "Oh, here you go, Mr." And I was like, "Wait, why does that name ring a bell? Wasn't he like the first Adam before Ray Palmer?"
Yes.
And Triggs was like, "Shit, I don't know, dude. Let me check this out." And he was like, "Yeah, it's because he was like one of the dudes that ran Star Labs way back." Yeah. And that's the thing is like, with them bringing in the Martian Manhunter, and then bringing in that Adam, I kind of felt like it was being pushed more for not the JLA, but the Justice Society. Like they were pushing for that first iteration with the Martian Manhunter and Adam and all of these guys. I would really love to see a version of the Spectre. Like that's someone that I would really love to. I don't know why, dude. Look at Triggs just judging me with his judging eyes, dude. I would really like to see the Spectre in Zatanna.
Maybe
That's what I would like.
Zatanna, yes, but
I mean, I've even heard people. I think Robert had hit us up a couple of days ago in the comments and was like that he would like to see a Justice League Dark. Where do you see the DC universe going after this? Because this is, of course, being what the Zack Snyder cut is supposed to be. This is still on the heels of Wonder Woman 1984, Shazam, Aquaman, the next Suicide Squad. There's a lot of stuff that's still coming out that's supposed to be based on the universe that had been priorly placed there.
Oh,
I mean, yeah, like from the Justice League Joss Whedon story to the Justice League Snyder cut, the stories don't really deviate other than the fact that Steppenwolf has to go back home and Darkseid's going to deal with him. Like now it's just that Darkseid sees who the Justice League is. He sees a target and Steppenwolf has already been taken care of by the Justice Leagues, which shows their violent nature, which means, you know, the one thing that I was kind of not cool with also was the anti-life equation being on Earth. I was kind of like, that's a little too much. Like the anti-life equation is such a rare commodity to come across in the comic books that it just so happens that Darkseid showed up 1,000 years ago and slammed a melee weapon he's never had in any iteration of himself into the ground, and boom, the anti-life equation is like, what's up? I'm here. You found me. And it was one of those things that I was kind of like, that's weird. But I think it's just, it would be way harder to explain what the anti-life equation is from the comic books than it would be in a film if you were just like, well, it just so happens to be in the soil of the earth or whatever. Like, I don't know. Like, it was just really weird when they brought out the anti-life equation. I thought it was too much because you have the 3 mother boxes on Earth already. And it just so happens that this one random planet happens to have the 3 mother boxes and the anti-life equation. And Darkseid didn't know that they were there to begin with. He just kind of like stumbled across it by accident. And then he loses that planet. Like those kind of things were like, what? Like, I didn't get that. Like Steppenwolf is like, hey, guess what? On my travels looking for these mother boxes, even though when they turn on, I find them. And all the other planets, they never turned on them. I just conquered them because I owe you what? How many planets did he owe him?
150,000.
150,000 planets. He was just like going through them and he's like, wait a minute, you hear that? I got to go to that one. And he shows up and boom, he finds the anti-life equation in like a weird Batman dream by touching the mother box. I guess that made more sense than the vision that Batman was having. A lot of the times, I was
okay with it. I was okay with it. Just because it also explained how, you know, how he gets his Omega beams. You know what I'm saying? It showed that vision too. And you're just like, damn,
I love his Omega beams. I didn't like how skinny they were, but I liked them.
Yeah, but I mean, how else are you going to explain he gets his Omega beams without leaving that, without even mentioning the, you know what I'm saying? I mean, you have to mention it without, you can't give him Omega beams in a vision and then they don't mention the anti-life equation. You know what I'm saying? Like it has
well, that's why it's I think explaining the anti-life equation would be really hard in a film. Like if you were going to do it just like the way that they did these films. Like even with a 4-hour film, a lot of people just still don't get what the anti-life equation is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it's really not even touched base on. Like that to me was more fan fiction than anything. Like they did that for the fans, which I don't know why they wouldn't do Booyah. You know what I mean? Like if they did the fucking anti-life equation, why the fuck no Booyah? Give me a Booyah, dude. Give me like a little cyborg from Teen Titans on one of the screens or something. Booyah, or something like, you know, I don't know. The film overall was very good. How many times do you think you'll end up watching this movie, Pete?
If I'm being fair, I'll probably watch it. It's coming out on DVD in summer. They've already talked about it.
Is it really?
Yeah. So
nice.
30 days streaming on HBO Max. So I'll probably watch it a good 10 times. Honestly.
Yeah. That 4-hour movie mark is so crazy though.
Movie.
But you know what? I wanted to ask both of you this question. What would you think of like a 4-hour long Winter Soldier movie?
No.
You don't think this would work for any other franchise?
No.
It's a hard pass.
Like, it's one of those things, like, knowing that
First and foremost, I'm not large enough of a Winter Soldier fan.
Oh, no, I'm just talking about the format.
Invest.
Yeah, I'm talking about the format of the film. Because I think out of all the Marvel movies,
Now,
the Winter
if they
Soldier
did
is
that
probably
with-
still one of the best ones.
Now, if they did that with Endgame and kind of touched on a few more plot points that weren't entirely fleshed out,
Oh, yeah.
fucking go for it, dude.
Yo, what if they just
Oh, man.
decided to do like a Infinity War Endgame cut where they just remove the credits from the first movie and just put it all the way through one solid film?
Fuck, go for it.
Would you
I
would
would
you
eat
would you
that
would
shit
you
up,
chill through
dude.
that?
Oh, dude, I do rails of that. Let's go.
But when you think about it, though, they were both filmed together. They both filmed Infinity War. And
Yeah. Like, but if they were just to make that format where they
Yeah.
just put them all together.
The Endgame felt like a drag to me. Like it was just kind of, it was 3 hours, and you're just like, yeah, they had all the homages to everything, all the old films and stuff. I mean, it was cool, but it was kind of like, do we really need that? You know what I'm saying? I mean, it just, to me, it was just, I don't know. I didn't enjoy Endgame as much as Infinity War. That's for sure.
You know what? I can probably see why. Do you feel like the Marvel movies are very predictable?
Yes.
Like the writing is very predictable, right?
Like we
in
knew the time.
Endgame, when something happens, you're like, I figured they were going to do that.
Yeah, and we knew the time thing was coming. You know what I'm saying? We already knew. I mean, even before the movie came out, they didn't even have to say anything. We knew it was going to happen. That's the only way they were going to happen. It was going to happen. Either that or with this, with the time stone. I mean,
yeah, it had to be something that way.
It had to be something. So we already knew. But yeah, it's very predictable. And the only thing that worries me about Marvel now is, okay, you don't have Iron Man, you don't have Captain America. Everything that's coming out now, unless the X-Men come like now or Fantastic Four come out now, what do you have coming forward? There's really nothing that's going to carry the franchise.
Me and Trigger talk about this all the time. It's literally all the characters people hate.
Yeah.
Which is all the recent
Captain
characters
Marvel
they
and all that,
tried to establish in the comics, the ones that they virtue signal with, and they never establish characters' backstories. That's always going to be the killer part of characters that Marvel and DC will suffer from, is that they rather rush to create something because they know it's popular at that time and they don't want to build anymore. I mean, yeah, like the thing that DC's doing right now with the comics with Future, what's it called? Future State?
Future Slate.
Yeah, Future State. I think it's a great thing that they're introducing the future variations of all the teams. I don't understand how like Harley's still young. I'm not a real big fan on how they just redid the origin story of Static. I'm not really a big fan on how they did that. I think they took away a lot of the organicness of the character when he was originated, but it's not my choice. I'm not a creator of the franchise. You know what I mean? I could have my opinion on it, but we'll see how it turns out with the sales and the appreciation. It's not the first time that either company has failed at making something not work. Trigger will tell you that there are certain iterations that I care for it, but he'll tell you 100% he does it. There's just a little part of me that's excited for the build of America Chavez's character. I feel like that's a great character to build on. It comes from an original idea where a lot of these like people that are finding themselves want this trans character that can build, and this kind of gives you that idea based on a multiverse of all females. You know what I mean? That's a really great transition in the sense of saying, like, if you come from a family of two same-sex parents, you have no characters to relate to, but that's a random life situation. But a character like America Chavez, she comes from a universe that comes from just females, so she has that opportunity. But the problem is they do a lot of virtual signaling with their comic books, and that's why they never hit hard. They just don't let it happen. And there are several comic books, but like there's one called The Ultimates, and I always relate back to that one because that was a great start, but a horrible like 3, horrible 4, horrible 5. The first comic book, amazing, and then it fell completely, just failed completely throughout the rest of the arc. And then there's like, of course, there's like Riri Williams, like Riri Williams. I think Triggs just does not like her character. He doesn't like her more than I do. But the thing is like this goes back to that question, like, if they can't do it with these characters, then when's the right time? Like when do you want them to try to establish new characters? Like, should they just pull from someone that was in a 90s comic book and then make him a hero now then? Or do you try to start something new and then build it from there? and throw the spaghetti on the wall and hopefully it works.
Yeah, I think obviously you have the X-Men franchise now. You have the Fantastic Four. You have to bring them in like now. It has to. They haven't even cast anybody. I think Rogue is rumored for Captain Marvel too. And you know what I'm saying? She's a main
I heard Rogue for Captain Marvel too. I heard Storm for Love and Thunder.
Yeah, for Black Panther too.
Yeah, well, man, I don't know about Black Panther yet. And the reason why, of course, is the tragic Boseman situation, right? Because they haven't talked about even recasting him or what they're going to do. So the idea was they're probably going to do like a precursor story to like his father's story, or they'll do like it'd be really weird but interesting if they did like a Killmonger in the afterlife, like coming back and then him, I guess, taking the mantle of Black Panther. I don't know. I don't know. It's very weird. It's very weird. But with the whole thing that happened with WandaVision and then them introducing the children and them introducing like the Pietro character, like I feel like we talked about it before that we feel like it was a lost opportunity for them to kind of like give a nod that there are X-Men in the universe or there are some type of mutants or there is like a multiverse crossover. And then they completely trolled the situation and shit on all of it except for the weird book reading thing at the end of the WandaVision thing. But like the Pietro, the boner scene, like that was so horribly done. Horribly done. I don't know if you got to see WandaVision. So I apologize if you haven't.
No, I saw it. With Doctor Strange, the multiverse thing, you're going to see it. Spider-Man 3, you're going to see multiverse. You're going to see a lot of stuff happen.
In all of them.
I'm hoping because you have so much potential, especially with like, let's say Doctor Doom, where he's a main antagonist now, and you bring him out with the Fantastic Four. And next, you have this new group of Avengers and the Fantastic Four and the X-Men. They're all fighting Doctor Doom, one of the most powerful villains in the
characters.
Marvel
Yeah, man.
I mean,
dude, and that was the other thing. Is that's why I was really excited for this. The series that just came out, The Winter Soldier and the Falcon. The Falcon and the Winter Soldier is because they're bringing in like comic accurate Baron Zemo, like purple mask. Like I am way fucking excited, like way too excited for that. Baron Zemo is such a fun character in certain comic book arcs. Like sometimes he's written more interesting than Red Skull. And then that initiates for the Thunderbolts. That initiates for the Black Widow film. Like that breaks into a lot of different things too. I'm really excited about it. The first episode of Falcon and the Winter Soldier came out. Did you guys get to check it out yet?
Yes.
No, Pete, you haven't seen it yet?
I've been watching Justice League.
Yeah, no, it's understandable. It's understandable.
Yeah.
But wow, what a fucking awesome weekend to be a comic book lover. Mm. Like, dude, like I really am impressed on how they handled the Winter Soldier and the Falcon TV show. If you get an opportunity to see that. So Pete, we also heard I think Robert said it earlier. I'm going to see if I can find his comment. It was up here. They're going to be releasing a second variation of this film. Did you hear about this?
Yeah, in black and white.
Yo, does anybody got any information? Like, what's that going to be about?
I've heard about it, but I haven't. I heard they were talking about like another cut. Well, basically, like you said, it's going to be black and white, which would be interesting to see because I don't know if is it going to be the same movie or we're going to get new stuff. I have no clue.
I heard that they were going to do that. That's where they were going to introduce the Jesus Joker. So that was my other question: is how did you guys feel about the Nightmare reference, the Nightmare scene? You had Mara with a different accent. You had of course, a Deathstroke who's working alongside Batman, who was left off in the ending credits with Lex Luthor saying that he was going to go after Batman. So I guess he doesn't get that contract done and he ends up working with him in some way. And of course it's several years because I guess that's the reason why they did the white hair on Deathstroke, right? Because they're trying to show that it's been aged out, right? But then, Batman doesn't look too aged. And Jared Leto, what did you guys think of the Jared Leto design?
I loved it. I thought it was great. And honestly, the whole Nightmare scene, it's perfect because it lines up with Batman vs Superman. He already had that vision. He already saw the dark side symbol in the middle. He saw the parademons. He saw Superman grab his heart. You know what I'm saying? Like and then you lead up to this where that's kind of like a prequel of that. Like he's already had that nightmare. He knows what happens. Superman, lasers those two guys, pulls his heart out.
Yeah, you're right. Because he references it to Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
Yeah, he tells Wonder Woman, I had a dream right here. The Flash Barry was right in front of me right here when he's talking on the chair. And you know what was real crazy is I think I was telling Trigger this. Like, I totally forgot that the dream sequence was in Batman versus Superman and not the Justice League.
Yeah.
Like I totally tripped out and I was like, oh yeah. I was telling Trigger too, before the Justice League movie started, I really liked that they explained the concept of the ringing of the bell. That it was Superman dying and screaming that the oddity, I don't know, the audio of his voice transcending with power reached all the way that way and activated the mother boxes. I thought that was amazing, man, because they never explained that. He just had Eisenberg at the end of the last film just looking at a painting. Oh, the bells have been rung, and I was like, what the fuck is this guy talking about? Like, did he like send a message to space? Like, how did Darkseid know? But they really, dude, Zack Snyder really like, he really had an image for it. Like to connect those two films that way was really impressive. Like really, really impressive to me.
And yeah, I personally, like, once again, I'm sorry, Trigger, I'm doing all the talking here. I liked the Leto Joker a lot, man. I thought it was a big improvement from the Suicide Squad. He looked like a mess on that one, but this one was like, it kind of reminded me of Hamill's Joker a little bit, with a little bit of Ledger's, but then also kind of a spin of Leto's, and the way he interacted with Batman. We've never seen an interaction between them two.
It was
yet.
poetic.
Yeah, to see
it was
those
Shakespearean.
Yeah, and Batman fucking, he tells him, I'm gonna fucking kill you. You know what I'm saying? And he brings up Harley, and Harley was dying in my arms, and I made a promise, so I'm gonna kill you. And to me,
I love that interaction.
We were talking about that too.
I 100% love that interaction because he was like, he's like, yeah, when I was holding Harley in her dying words, her last breath, she said that when I kill you, because I will fucking kill you, that I do it slow. And I was like, fuck yeah, dude.
There was, of course, there's a little part of me that was a little unsure about it because Batman being vulgar about talking about killing him. And this goes back to the idea of, oh, okay, well, why hasn't he just killed him already if he's already killed so many? You know what I mean? Like, where's the threat really doesn't matter that he's going to kill him. It's just kind of securing the idea that eventually he is, even though that's not what Batman is about. It felt cool as fuck. I'm not going to lie. Like, even when Jared Leto Joker calls him out on his bullshit, and he's like, you're good. You had me. You had me there. Like, he kind of like calling him out on his bullshit, like he's never going to kill him because he needs him. Because it goes to that. And that's why I'm saying, like, that whole conversation, the whole entire Jared Leto speech, it was super Shakespearean. Like, everything he said, even when he's like, he knows what it's like to lose. He's lost a mother. It's like losing a father. And then Batman's like, don't you better fucking watch what you say next, dude, because he's like, an adopted son. And then he reverts back to it and says, why would you send a child to do a man's job? Like, he's still fucking eating at him. And I like that the Joker's blood in his mouth was the smile. Like, that was the red that created the red. I did like that they used more white paint to secure to remove the tattoos that he has on his face. I really didn't like that image. The long hair is okay. He looks like he has a really bad receding hairline, but he looks gross. Like, he looks creepy gross, which to me is a good Joker. Like, he looks cynical. He looks like a psychopath. And then Superman shows up and he doesn't really react to him. He's just sitting there laughing. And I was real like, oh man, like I wanted it to be where like either Joker like tipped him off that they were going to be there, or he says something in the essence of picking on Superman, or he makes the scene worse for them. Cause that'll give you the idea of like where Deathstroke was like, do you think it was a good idea to bring this dude? Like, and Batman's like, no. Like that scene, like I just wanted it to be a little bit more there. But yeah, I don't want to keep you too long, Pete. I know we're going at an hour 35 right now. Scale of 1 to 10. Where do you see the Justice League Snyder Cut? Like, without comparing it, of course, to the original Justice League. I don't want to compare either one of the movies together.
It's hard to do, but I'll try. I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10.
Okay.
for me. It's not a perfect for me just because I feel like I would have liked this originally. Once again, I'm not comparing it, but I would have liked it originally just because it opened up so many more stories, so many more comic book stories that we're probably not going to get because WB it's their money grab. They're all about the money at the end of the day, and if, they're just they're literally grabbing for money, and if they're not going to fund another Snyder movie, I don't see it happening unless this one just blows up, which it looks like it's doing. I mean, it looks like it's doing, as well as DVD sales and merchandise, and if it does really well. The good thing is about Snyder's got Jim Lee in his corner, which is I think he's like president of creative control.
Yeah, DC. Yeah, he's like literally the dude. Yeah, he's the Kevin Feige. He's literally the Kevin Feige of DC.
Yeah, he's the guy, and he's got Jim Lee in his corner, dudes, which is a strong person to have. Somebody that's told DC stories in the future. So I'm hoping that we get a part 2 or 3, or we get some, what a Joker standalone movie or a Batman, standalone movie with Ben Affleck, and I'm saying, like, other stories that we can explore based on this. So I give it a 9 out of 10.
That's why I would have figured you would have been 10 out of 10.
It
would have been 10 if it would have got this first.
Yeah, Triggs, what about you, man? Scale of 1 to 10.
Honestly, I was. I think just because I enjoyed the movie so much, right now I'm at a 10 out of 10. I'm sure that, like, if I see the movie a couple more times, I might bump it, because I'm starting to notice, a little bit of inconsistency here, something like that, or there, obviously, you and I broke down that movie in its entirety that entire time. But still, nonetheless, my initial reaction, my initial impression, my expectations of it, I had a really, really, really fun time watching this. It was an enjoyable experience. I got to see it with great friends, and so it did not let down. It wasn't a waste of time, and it's something that I wholeheartedly recommend to anybody.
Excellent. I'm going to give it a 8.5. The only injustice I feel that has been done is showing that Warner Brothers is capable of pulling off great films. And the injustice is everything that, like, my boy Pete and us being fans of it have had to endure the other movies that they've created, knowing that they can create masterpieces like this by picking in the right people and not rushing things. That this movie had to be 4 hours for them to get it done when they could have done it in 2 and given us a great couple of stories. That's the only thing is I feel that being a 4-hour movie is such a horror. This would have been a horrible experience in a theater. You know what I mean? Sitting through 4, it's already enough to sit through a 2.5-hour film. A 4-hour film in a theater would have been even rougher. So I kind of feel like that's the only thing that really, really hurts it. Other than that, I, just like anybody else, can appreciate that they finally brought a coherent story. They made it make sense. They put all the T's, like we said, T's in the eyes, and everything, consistency is there. It did leave some questions, but in fact, I think it kind of felt like they left the crave for more. I've never craved another DC movie more than right now. You know what I mean? Like, now I want to know the next part for Martian Manhunter. I want to see what they're going to do by introducing the guy from the Atom. I want to see how they're going to build on Superman's character from here. How are they going to make him more of a character of hope rather than a character of just being confident? You know what I mean? I want to see Batman become that great detective. I want to see him use his wits and his logic to be the better Superman. Fuck, I want to see Ben Affleck and Henry Cavill come back. Like, I want to know for sure they're going to come back now. I don't know. We'll just have to see. Zack Snyder pulled off an amazing feat. A 4.5-hour film. Pete, I swallowed my words. I told you if he were to do it, he did it, and he fucking did it, man. I give it to him. Zack Snyder, congratulations on your success. And yeah, Pete, I want to say thank you very much for coming on the show. You're always invited if you ever want to come have these fucking super long nerd conversations with us. We got to talk a little bit about last time, but what do you have coming up for your events and stuff like that? I know you got something big coming up. You guys bringing in some big names, man.
Well, we're trying to work with what we have, and obviously there's a lot of celebrities that aren't doing shows right now because of COVID and stuff like that. We have so I'll give you one. Obviously, we've already announced the ones for April. We have Nicole Brown, Aisha from Cobra Kai.
Cobra Kai.
Yeah, we have Jake Cannavale. Can't remember I can't state his last name.
Like an Italian dude, man.
Yeah,
I like
the
that
Italian
kid,
guy.
man.
Yeah, he comes out on Mandalorian. He's one of the bounty hunters that actually betrays the Mandalorian.
Mando, yeah. The speeder bike.
Yeah, and so he's a real nice kid. His dad is a very popular actor too. He comes
I want to say I've seen him somewhere before.
He comes out on Ant-Man. Comes out on a bunch of Italian gangster movies.
Oh, the dad's the husband, right? The step-husband?
Yes. Yeah, that's the guy. Yeah.
That's his dad? No, but I swear I've seen this guy acting somewhere else before.
Oh, yeah. He's come on a ton of stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's a real nice kid, 25 years old. I think she's 20 right now. She's 21. We have some stuff working with July. We're working with the RGB Sports Show with my buddy Danny. We'll have somebody from Power Rangers. And then, of course, we'll have something in July, which we have not announced yet, so I'll announce it now. We'll have two of the original Black Rangers, so Walter Jones, Zach from Power Rangers.
Oh, yeah.
And then we'll have Johnny Young Bosch.
Oh, man, the dude, bro. That guy's
fucking
so
goat, dude.
Yeah.
I love that dude so much.
Second Black Ranger, anime. He's Broly now on Dragon Ball Z. He's just
right.
Voice actor. So we'll have him at the end of July. It's 24th and 25th of July. I can't tell you who we're bringing for Danny's show yet. And, of course, we're working with Quinn Comics, The Flux and McAllen, with Chris and his crew and Jay and JD. We've tried to do it as safe as possible. We have a ticketed process where we bring people in, have them pick up tickets at the shop before the shows. And we've been doing really well. The celebrities have been happy. All the Power Rangers we brought down have been super happy. The shops have been making money. We've been making money. And we're trying to make it as safe as possible. And eventually, once things start to get a little bit better, start to get a little bit more normal, we'll have another show. We're trying to get our ducks in a row and making sure that we can do things safely and make it fun for like we've had before. And our goal is Harlingen as usual, because that's my home city. Mm-hmm. And it's actually located in the valley. And the fans came out when we had Fan Fest, and now we'll have the Harlingen Fan Con mixed in with Morphomania, and it should be a lot of fun, man. And we hope the fans come out and support and check it out. We're super excited.
I mean, Pete, you've always done amazing stuff, man. I ain't gonna lie. Like, I've always liked your work. You really care about the people and the way you take care of the celebrities, and you make them feel the culture and our scene and our community. Like, I've never seen. I think, like, what was the dude? The Donald Duck guy was the one that was a little upset, but that's because it was his birthday. That's totally understandable. Like, it was, he's away from his family and stuff. I do remember that, but the community that we live in is very small. It's very hard to make things like this work, because, like, for one thing, it'll be like you'll bring a celebrity, and if it's not a celebrity that is either a wrestling celebrity or from like a huge movie, the show up can sometimes be like a gamble. But man, you hit it on the button every time, man. Every time I go to your events, man. This last one, man, there was so many people in that place.
Yeah, well, that's Danny's show. That's the RGB Sports Show. That's his show. But he allowed us to bring some Power Rangers in, and they drew, and it was packed, man. And honestly, the way other shows like PokeFest with Margaret and South Comic Con, they've all paved the way for us, and they've all OmniCon, all that stuff, all these great shows that were before us have paved the way, and all we're trying to do now is just bring And the funny thing about this whole thing is they've been cooped up for a year. They want stuff to do, and they show up to these events, and you're thinking, okay, well, we got a couple Power Rangers, and we'll get, maybe 40, 50 people, and it shows up, 200 people show up, and you're like, dude, what is going on?
What is going on? There's a lot of people,
to Quinn Comics, and Quinn, is very accommodating as well, Rob, and we've tried to make it as fun as possible and safe as possible, and everybody gets their autographs, and everybody gets their pictures, and the guests leave super happy, and they tell other celebrities, and I've been contacted by other people, and it's been such a great group of events that we've done so far, and we'll continue doing it until we can get back to normal life and all that. But once again, it wouldn't be possible without my team, Margaret, Michael, Betancourt, all our volunteers, Emily, Victoria, Edric, everybody that helps with the show. I would not be able to do it without them, because they honestly are a big part of it. And, we've brought down guests that sometimes don't hit, and we still have a good time with the show. And obviously this is working for us, and we're going to continue to try to do it as long as we continue to get the support. So.
And not only that, I mean, you are an awesome host, man. I always hear nothing but great things from the celebrities that you pamper them like crazy, man. Like, you bring them to the Valley and they get to do such fun stuff. And I mean, your team is always so fantastic. I just personally want to say thank you for putting on these kind of shows, man, and pushing the envelope when a lot of other people have not been able to have the opportunity or even try to do this. So, man, I gotta say, man, I give it up to you, man. I tip my hat, I tip my fedora to you, bro. Tip my fedora.
I appreciate it. Honestly, that's our goal is, make sure the celebrities leave happy, make sure they're content, make sure they had a good time. And a lot of these celebrities, whenever they go to these bigger cons, they never meet promoters ever. They're like, I've never met a promoter in my life. We have a handler and it's up and that's it. And so for them, it's a little weird, but once they get to know us, it's like, wow, this is cool, and we build relationships. Like, I still text with a lot of, Catherine texts me almost every other day, the Pink Ranger.
Oh, that's super nice
relationship. And it's more than anything, it's just treating people the right way, especially at a time like this. And, I'm not perfect by any means, I'm not, but, we try to treat people the right way and making sure that everybody's happy. And when they come to the Valley, give them an experience that they're going to remember,
Yeah. And not only that, you make the Valley look good, man.
Appreciate it, guys. That's all we try to do.
All righty. Well, thank you, Pete, so much for coming on the show, man. We appreciate you so much. Again, can you drop us where we can get any information on your upcoming events?
Sure. Once again, we have April 24th and 25th. 24th is going to be at Quinn Comics. Once again, we'll have the Nicole Brown from Cobra Kai. She's Aisha. She's coming back on the new season 4. And then we'll have Jay Canavel from Mandalorian at Quinn Comics on the 24th. And then the 25th, they'll both be at the Flux in McAllen. You can start picking up tickets next Tuesday or Wednesday at those areas. Then we'll try to do 1 or 2 events every month. We'll keep it going. We have a lot of stuff planned, a lot of big names that I can't tell you yet, but we are super excited. And I hope the Valley comes out and just continues to support.
Excellent, man. Well, thank you so much. Here on the show, we always got your back. So you let us know and we'll start advertising for you and telling, letting all the people in the comments and everything know that you got this stuff going on, man. We appreciate you. We hope you have a good night. Sorry for keeping you on so late, but we got to have long conversations when it comes to DC, man. And like I said, Chris, anytime you want to talk nerdy, you come to us, boy.
For sure, man. I appreciate you, Chris Trigger. Thank you so much. You guys have been awesome. I appreciate you guys having me on and letting me rant a little bit about DC. I'm sure we'll talk about it again.
Hell yeah, man. We're going to do it over and over again. You watch, dude. Pete, thank you so much, and we'll see you, brother.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate y'all.
Laters. Man, Trigger, what a great fucking show.
Yeah, man, that was a good one, dude.
Yeah, that was good, man. I really had a great time. It's like we said, the DC universe it's kind of gotten a whole new fresh of breath air. I'm kind of excited to see what DC is going to do next. Like, I know that, of course, even if I may not be a big fan of James Gunn as a person, I know he's going to knock that Suicide Squad movie out of the water, dude.
I agree.
You know what I mean? So, like, if those are the things that we got, dude, not only that, your Gotham Knights game got pushed back
till 2022.
Man, that's a little rough.
I'm all right with it. It's still not a good time to have all these things coming out. COVID and stuff like that. No one's really working on anything serious right now. So
yeah,
it's all good.
It's rough. Triggs, are there any things coming up for you, dude? Anything you want to announce? You do have your honeymoon coming up.
Actually, so speaking of that, thank you very much for reminding me, man. We actually had to push it back to October.
Okay.
Yeah, so Audrey is going back to school, so the money that we were saving so that we could go is being used to put her through school right now. So, we're not just dicking around with it, but we are yeah, we're going to be using that for her school. We are still going. That's still going to be a thing. So it'll just give us time to resave and stuff like that. Make sure that we are going to go out there properly. And yeah, man, it was it was kind of sudden, yeah, but everything's still going to work out in the end. So it's all good.
Of course. Hey, well, I mean, either way, that's really good news, man. Congratulations to your wife, going back to school, getting that education done. She's going to inspire many of us. Maybe I'll go back to school. Fuck it. Use that stimmy.
Right.
Yeah, I don't want to buy a unicorn. Jeremy, thank you very much. Everybody in the comments, and thank you to all our viewers that came in to watch and chill out and hang out with us. We really appreciate you guys. What an exciting weekend for comic books this week. The drop of the Snyder Cut on Wednesday. And guys, like we said a little while ago, I highly recommend the Falcon and Winter Soldier film. The show, it's going to be, what is it, like the 30-minute episode format? Same thing as WandaVision?
I think.
How many episodes are we looking at for this one?
Six.
It's going to, man, that's pretty cool. And then we have the Loki show coming up not too far after.
Mm-hmm.
What exciting stuff, man. I think Marvel, of course, I think they're going to be on a really good time chart for setting all this stuff up. And I think I saw recently in the news, catching up on some articles, that the heads up at Marvel are still kind of like last minute about putting Black Widow out on stream or in theater. Like they're really holding out.
I hear that they're really up in the air about it.
Yeah,
like,
they're really holding out, man. What do you think, man? Do you think it should be pushed into theater, or do you think it should be pushed into stream?
Go for the stream, dude.
I think so too, man. I think so too. I think
the streaming service is working.
Yeah, I think it's the future, dude. I really think it's the future. Having that option of either going to a theater or just watching in the comfort of your house, I think that should be an opinion. That's like Uber. That's like the Uber of filmmaking. Like, instead of having to go through a theater, you can just have it hand delivered to your house. I don't know. I just think it's more of an amazing opportunity. Guys, thank you very much for tuning into the show. In the comments, tell us what you guys liked about the Zack Snyder cut, what you didn't like. Give us your number count. We really want to hear from you guys, and we really want to hear your comments. And like we've said before, we'll say it again. Don't forget to like us on your favorite podcast app, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, anything that you listen to. We've been doing fairly well on our downloads, on our live streams, or actually on our podcast episodes on other formats. We really appreciate it. So thank you to our listeners out there for getting those downloads out there and listening to our stuff. Also, we got a new intro. I'm super damn excited on how the intro came out. It looks good. We're going to be putting some art up on the Facebook page probably in the next couple of days, and putting up some little gifts and stuff, guys. Again, we appreciate you to all our extraordinary listeners for tuning in on this Friday night with us here on The Average Boys. Thank you, and tune in with us every Friday night. If not, catch up with us on Spotify or any other of the podcasting formats. Guys, thank you so much, and we will see you guys again next Friday, 9 p.m. here, live, and laters.